Hi, this is my video on two unique straps that can connect to your point and shoot camera, your mirrorless camera, or even a standard DSLR camera. Now, they use both roughly the same methods of connecting to your camera. We have the Peak Design cuff and we have the SmallRig universal camera wrist strap. We'll start off with the Peak Design cuff. It comes in this box. Obviously shows a picture of the actual wrist strap. When you open up the box, you have the wrist strap there in front of you with one of its connectors connected. Now the second connector, you get two connectors with this. The second connector is inside the box, so when you take it out, you get the second connector and you get a little pouch in there as well. SmallRig universal wrist strap comes in this plain box here with the words universal camera P black, so you get it in only one color, which is black, and basically nothing around the box apart from the words SmallRig. This is what you get in the Peak Design cuff box. You get the strap or lanyard here, you get two connectors, and we get a pouch and a little warranty card. Now in the box of the SmallRig, you get the actual wrist strap here, two connectors, and also you get two loops, metal and plastic loops for your camera, so you can attach these to your camera, then attach the connectors on there if you wish, so you get these extra. This is the strap. These are the two straps. On top here is the Peak Design and on the bottom is the SmallRig. I'll go through the two of them. The Peak Design has a plastic attachment here for the connector, so a plastic, I'd say, connector here with kind of, it feels like metal in there to hold the connector, which is on a nice nylon strap. We have this metal buckle here with the words Peak, about PD on there for their logo, Peak Design, and this is adjustable as well. Now built inside, inside here is a magnet which is somewhat near to the words Peak Design, so this can able to be folded back on itself. So if I place it on my wrist here, when you're not using the wrist strap, you can simply wrap this around, it's that way around, and connect this to the magnet on there on the back. There it is, and connect it to the magnet on the back when not in use. With the SmallRig, similar to the Peak Design, we have this plastic connector here to connect to the connectors that go on your camera, similar to the Peak Design one. We have this nice nylon band here, which is quite thick like the Peak Design and measures the same as the Peak Design. And this kind of padded part here, which is a kind of, I'd say, nylon stroke rubber part here for comfort with the word SmallRig. So this is more padded around here than the Peak Design, which isn't padded. Now this adjusts on your wrist the same way as the Peak Design, like so, but the only thing this does not have, which the Peak Design one does have, is that built-in magnet. It's got that built-in magnet in the Peak Design, while this SmallRig one does not. Attachments or connectors for your camera. Both of them use this plastic kind of connector. I'd say the Peak Design is a round shape with the words PD embossed on there, and we have a kind of, I'd say, oval stroke oblong shape for the SmallRig with the words SmallRig placed on there. Both have this nice thick, I'd say, rope lanyard attachment to it. And when we turn them over, whilst the Peak Design uses this circular stroke red kind of the ring to connect to its wrist strap, the SmallRig uses this kind of I'd say slot, and along with this ball bearing here, which has a kind of spring loaded ball bearing here which clips into place. SmallRig, and with the SmallRig and with the Peak design which I've got on here, uses the connector, the loop on your camera. Now this is the Sony ZV-1 and its loop is very, very small, so that's why I've got this particular ring around there, this link on there, because I have to connect that link to the loop, which was the only thing big enough to fit in there, and then connect the SmallRig, the Peak design attachment to it. So the Peak design uses this system whereby you simply, I'll get this on camera here, it's a bit fiddly, but you place this at the top half of the attachment here, and then pull down and it snaps into place, and then that's it. That is not going anywhere with your camera. With the SmallRig, it uses this to fix into place. It's like a slot system similar to the Peak design, but instead of the Peak design, when the Peak design uses this kind of spring here, or I'd say yes, this kind of spring here to latch the actual connector in, the SmallRig uses this ball bearing on a spring, this spring loaded ball bearing here. Now you simply place it on with this facing down. It's just a bit fiddly under the camera here, and then simply pull down and you hear it snap into place. And now that is attached just like the Peak design, and to release it you simply press down and push up, and that releases it. You can actually, like the Peak design that uses this method here, you can actually feel the spring loaded on the Peak design, and you can feel the spring on this ball bearing part with the SmallRig. Stated before, the Peak design uses this circular connector, connector to go on this attachment here, and it's simply push down, pull out, and it has its spring, which is this unit here built into the to the, I would say the receptor, is that a good word, or this this buckle here then, or connector. So when you push the actual connector in and pull down, it snaps into place, while SmallRig doesn't have that kind of spring there. The SmallRig tends to rely on this ball bearing on a spring in here, and you simply push down and it will still make the same click sound in there. And they're both very much similar. Either one is the same, they're similar. I wouldn't say one is better than the other. They're just similar. Now in the UK, the Peak design strap costs £26 from Amazon, and the SmallRig wrist strap costs £19 from Amazon. Now, as I stated before, they're both the same thickness, the same size, same length, which is roughly, and I'll measure it for you, 24 centimeters in length. Both of them are roughly the same length, so they're both 24, in the roundabouts 24 centimeters in length. The only biggest advantage one has over the other is that the SmallRig has this, while they have this nylon strap, they have this padded part of the strap here, which the Peak design does not have. But with the Peak design, once it's on your wrist, like I showed you before, you can simply, if you do take your camera off the attachment here, you can simply fold this back on itself and clip it to the on itself, because there is a magnet built in. When it comes to weight management of these two straps, SmallRig does state that this particular connector can take up to a weight of 90 kilograms. Now with the Peak design, I couldn't find where it can take up to what its maximum weight is. But because these are really suitable for your point and shoot cameras and mirrorless cameras, I would not be concerned too much about if it would take the weight, because they are wrist straps made to take those cameras, and unless it's a big movie camera or an old-fashioned VHS camera you're going to attach these things to, it will take the weight of cameras that you've got. Now as for your DSLR cameras, I really do not know. Obviously the Peak design will take the weight of them DSLR cameras, but what I've seen, most people, if they have a DSLR camera, sorry, that's a bit of a tongue tie, tend to have the double strap, where I tend to have the big lanyard strap more than the wrist strap. So these, even though SmallRig doesn't state how much weight it can take, it still is able to accommodate your point and shoot and mirrorless cameras. Now for me, either one is really good to buy. I wouldn't put one over the other, and as for the build quality of them, they are both the same, even though obviously Peak design has a more bigger name in the camera industry than SmallRig. But SmallRig is coming through with, especially with their frames for their cameras and bags and etc. So they are making a name for themselves, and to tell you the truth, you can't go wrong with either one of these products. My thought on both of these products, they both do exactly the same job. They both got that kind of built-in safety feature, which is basically when your camera is attached to it and the camera slips out your hand, it pulls onto your wrist with that particular buckle what they've got. They both do the same thing. As I stated before, Peak design have been in the business much longer than SmallRig. If I'm wrong, please let me know down in the comment section. So many photographers will tend to use the Peak design. SmallRig is coming through. Obviously they have got a name more into camera frames and mounts. Now they're coming into bags and straps, etc. So that's another company to look out for. Both of them are just equal. As I says, how they are on the wrist. My feelings is, if you're going to buy a nice wrist strap and spend money on a good wrist strap, buy the two of them from Amazon and then try them. I found that for me, I liked the cuff. I preferred the cuff than the SmallRig. So that's what I personally found, and the reason is that even though this had the pad on the wrist, it was a bit annoying for me on my wrist, but it may be suitable for your wrist. So when you're going to buy these, please buy the both of them off Amazon and then place them on your camera and then choose out of that, because they are so similar. Thanks for watching the video. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. I perfectly understand my videos can be long, but I like to go into detail to save you the trouble of when you buy the product, you know what to expect. So that's why my videos are long. Please subscribe to the channel and I'll see you next time.